away, ay, 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 ay. Away up, away up, ay, 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 ay. Away, ay, 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 away, ay, 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 ay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Bridge. I'm your host, Kira Young, and you've reached me on Revolution Radio. As usual, we're simulcasting with Real Liberty Media tonight, so you can tune in anywhere, and you can tune in by phone. Just before, we're going to try to give Oompa Noompa the night off. I've scheduled a talented young lady tonight, and so we're going to give her a call in a minute. But I wanted to just let you know about a few things that are going on. If you've been listening to the show, Oompa Noompa has been keeping you up to date on the happenings in camp, and he's currently preparing for winter camp. So I've set up a Facebook page, it's in Kalaluzan and Wion, Winter Fund Camp page. So those two camps will be funded through that page, and it's approximately $1,000 of things that they're asking for. Just really simple things like long underwear, extreme weather sleeping bags, coats, boots, those kind of things. So Majikia put a link to that in the chat if you'd like to help out. There's two ways. You can either just purchase one of the wish items on there and send it to the P.O. box, or you can just PayPal a few bucks to my PayPal. I'm coordinating it for them because they have very limited access to the internet, and mine is Valkyra, VALKYRA 1969 @gmail.com. So that's to help out the Swiftbird and Women's camps with their winter supply list. We also have two sponsors I'd like you to check out. Done Right BuffaloSauce.com. That's DUNN, right, BuffaloSauce.com. She has quite a number of really delicious gourmet buffalo sauces to choose from. We just got the gift pack, and it's really, really good. Also, Health Max, that they produce high quality CBD products, cannabidiol products. We're all suffering from cannabidiol deficiency. It was part of the food chain for thousands and thousands of years before hemp and cannabis were made illegal. So that's one of the reasons that we're all suffering from autoimmune disease and cancer. One of the many. There's also the full-on attack, environmental attack that's going on as well. So please check out Health Max as well. The Bridge with Kira listeners get 20% off. And don't be scared by their prices. They actually are the best priced and purest product on the market. And their products last for a really long time. So if you're one of those people that's transitioning from pharmaceuticals to that, this is one way for you to make that transition a little bit quicker, and you won't be sorry. So please visit those sponsors. And without further ado, I'm going to try to give Miss Lyla June Johnson a call. She's a very talented young Dene poet and activist and singer. We're going to add her to this call, and hopefully she will answer.
Hello.
Hi, Lyla. Welcome to The Bridge.
Thank you, Kira.
Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. Today's a special day. It's an International Day of Prayer. Do you want to tell us a little about that? You seem to be organizing it and sharing it, so a central figure in this day.
Yeah, of course. So it's not just a day, it's 4 days. It's today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. 1 day for each of the 4 sacred directions. And the idea is that the world will do something, either all 4 days or just maybe one of those 4 days, in support of Standing Rock. And we called it the International Days of prayer and action with Standing Rock. And we have about 500 plus cities joining us that we know of today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, although there is very likely many more than that. Those are just the ones who took the time to fill out the form on our website. So it's a very special day, you're right, because it's all starting today. And I think all of us who are organizing it are very shocked that it actually worked. So we're happy.
So who else is involved in organizing it?
We have a team of about 40 people who connected through Facebook. And we just kind of I put a call out. I said, hey, I'd like to organize this thing. Who wants to join? And about 40 people responded, and we had a conference call of people all around the country. And then also some folks from other countries were joining as well. And we sort of brainstormed, and then we all got to work on our respective actions. And so it's hard to name everyone, but one of the co-leaders is Justine Massey. I went to a college with her. So it's nice because I'm Native American and she's European American. So we kind of have that white and red unity going on. Mm-hmm. So it's a good day.
That's great. So tell us also about some of the other projects that you've been involved with, thinking the Black Hills concert and things like that.
Oh, geez. Well, okay, let me first introduce myself the traditional way.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was going to get to that, but yes, please do. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Lyla June Johnson. Nanisht ejit kati nishlan. Haskai dine bashishin. Ashin dashiche do belagana e dashanale. What I said was, hello, my people and my relatives. Because I consider everyone my people and everyone my relative. And my name's Lyla June, and I descend from the Zuni Kachitni clan, which is a specific faction of Navajo people, also known as Navajo people, but we call ourselves the Ne. We reside in the southwest corner of what some people call the United States, and we have been there for many thousands of years, and that's my mother's lineage. So that's the clan I descend from within the Navajo group. Then on my dad's side, I'm Cheyenne on his mother's side, and then on his father's side, I'm European. And so that's sort of my lineages, and I try to honor all of my ancestors. Taos, New Mexico, I grew up in Taos, New Mexico. I'm from Taos, New Mexico. Albuquerque, Chagrin. Today I live in Albuquerque, and thank you to the holy people. You know, that's the word we use for the ancestors and the spirits who created this world and who run through us in every moment and who run through everything, and the benevolent ones that help us along and treat us as their beloved children. Thank you to our Mother Earth. Neheman means our mother. Nahastan is like earth woman. It has the word asan in it, which means woman. And so we recognize that just like a woman, she gives birth to all things. And just like a woman, she's sacred. And just like a woman, she's being attacked right now all over the world and exploited for her body. Thank you to Yadakis, which means which means the sky realm, our Father, and all that the sky realm does to bring the sun's light, to bring the rain, to bring the wind, and to bring the stars, and to bring all of our climate, our stable climate, our clouds, our temperature, and this is our Father, so I say thank you to that being as well. Aro just najene do odil do dok otsli do the benitsa do just naldili do choli. Thank you to our mountains, our sacred mountains, which I just named, Mount Blanca, Mount Taylor, San Francisco Peaks, Hesperus Peak, Huerfano Mesa, and Gobernador Knob. All of these places where they cradled Dene people. I call upon those mountains. I'm at the base of Dakota Sleed right now, which is by Flagstaff, and say thank you to these mountains. And Dawn Himma, thanks to our corn, the mother of our people, and the corn that symbolizes our faith, because we always know we're going to be taken care of, and symbolizes our rootedness to the earth, because just like the corn, we have connection to the earth, and all of our tassels and our mind and our hands go up into the sky like they do. We're a bridge between the sky and the earth like they are. Just thanks to everything that has made this moment possible. The hundreds of generations of ancestors that have lived really incredible lives and gone through a lot of hardship so that I could stand here and breathe and speak. So Akwit ego Dene Spanish. In that way, I'm a Dene woman, and in that way I wanted to introduce myself and also honor the things, the elements that come together to make you and me possible in this moment. Yeah, that's it.
Nijoni, beautiful. And Yakoke is how we would say thank you in my mother's native people, Choctaw, Mississippi Choctaw, on my mother's side.
Beautiful.
And Scots Irish as well on my mother's side. And her people traveled through the Appalachians and settled in the Mississippi Valley or the Mississippi Gulf region in Louisiana. And on my father's side, I am Basque, and we only know that from DNA tests because his father was adopted. That's all I know. But I'm also married into the Prairie Band Potawatomi and Northern Cheyenne because my husband is both of those tribes. And we are both Hunka relatives of the Chikangu Lakota. So it's very nice to meet you, and thank you so much for introducing yourself in a traditional way.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you also are a poet, and I'm a poet too, and I wanted to tell you a story about one of the brave pioneers who paved the way for you and for me. And her name was Paula Gunn Allen. You may know who she is. She was a philosopher, poet, writer, and also of Laguna Pueblo and Lebanese and European descent. And she wrote some groundbreaking books. One called The Sacred Hoop that she wrote, and another, The Woman Who, let's see, what was the other one that she wrote? She was a poet as well, and she also, the last book that she wrote was Off the Reservation. So I just wanted to tell you, I don't know why I wanted to tell you this story, but of when I met her in Berkeley, she was speaking at the Mama Bear bookstore, and it was 1999, I believe. And she was there with her daughter, and her daughter sang and played guitar. And as Paula Gunn Allen spoke, I looked outside of the window, and there was a little black hummingbird outside the window, and it was perched on the fence outside, and it would just sit there intently and watch her while she was speaking. And then she would go and sit down, and her daughter would get up and start playing the guitar and singing, and the hummingbird outside would start flying around in patterns like it was dancing. And then her daughter would sit down, and the hummingbird would sit back on the fence and watch Paula speak. And they went back and forth 4 times doing that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that was just after I had made this sort of special connection with the hummingbirds. I was living in Oakland, and I had gone to see a medicine man at Intertribal Friendship House by the name of Lessert Moore, and he had come from Lakota country, and I told him about all my problems and everything that was going on, and I went home that night, and I cried all night long. And then I went out into the courtyard to say my morning prayers, and I had my eyes closed, and I felt this like a vibration or a tingling coming up through my toes, and it went all the way up through my head. And I opened my eyes, and there was these 4 hummingbirds flying around me in a pattern.
Wow.
And that happened every single day for 14 days. And on the 15th day, I went out and they weren't there. And I got really kind of like sad again, because those 14 days, it was like I got happier and happier every single day. And I was happy. I would see them. I would go out and they would be there. And then the 15th day, they weren't there. So I was like, okay, just get myself together. And I got ready, and I went out. And as soon as I stepped out into the world, the hummingbirds were everywhere. And I had this hyper awareness of them. And this was California, so they are everywhere all the time. But everywhere I'd go, there would be hummingbirds. And so I'm still, this is 20 years later, and I still am trying to understand this special connection. But go ahead.
Well, I think that happens for us when we dare to make a prayer, when we dare to pick up the phone and call upon the Creator or the holy people or Allah or however it is that your culture calls this thing. We dare to put a call out just to see if anyone's on the other side listening. And we say those prayers, then sometimes what comes back is very special. And sometimes I say those prayers wittingly, and sometimes they're just in my heart and I'm starting to feel them. And I had a similar experience where, I was on the verge of traveling to Santiago de Chile, which is like along the Andes in South America, and I was going to live there for 3 months to study. And right before I went, I asked, is there really a creator? Is there really someone out there who cares, who's watching, who can change things, who can have an intelligence, like a consciousness that actually can see me, or are we all just atoms that are running into each other, and then there became a forest, and there became oceans, and there became, this planet Earth just kind of randomly, just kind of things running into each other, and then boom, they spontaneously were created, and at that point that I asked this question, there was an elder, and she pointed to a picture of a man on a white horse. And she said, see, this white horse is spirit. This is spirit, and spirit's going to carry you. And so you just hang on, and you will be carried. And And so she didn't even know that this prayer was on my mind, but she just said it. And then thereafter, I saw white horses everywhere. I mean, everywhere on this, stickers or albums, or like in real life, I'd see like a white horse on the side of the road, or just everywhere, to the point where it was starting to kind of freak me out. And then after that, then the spirals started coming, Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. Go ahead. You cut out at spirals.
Oh yeah, just seeing spirals everywhere. Spirals over there, spirals over here, spirals over here. And so then what happened was, I finally went to this place, and this elder pulled off his necklace, which was a spiral. And he said, "I've been wanting to give this to you." And I was like, "What? How did you know?" And so I feel like these things are ways of Creator trying to tell us, hey, I'm here, I'm real, and I can reach you, and I can move mountains to be able to reach you. I can do miracles to reach you, and I'm going to reach you because you need to know you're supported. But sometimes what we have to do first is pick up that phone and say, "Are you there?" And then you'd be surprised what comes back. So thanks for sharing that story.
Thank you.
Important story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because the things that you were just talking about, the synchronicities that happen when you start praying, or you start focusing on your own spiritual awareness of things. I've talked about that particular thing on this show with many different people in many different ways. And one of the ways that has come up is that this idea that when you start focusing on that prayer, like you say, or that question of the universe, then you get the answer. But you have to remain open to how the answer reveals itself. It might not be that, voice in the middle of the night. It might be the people that you meet and the synchronicities that happen and what people say to you and how it makes sense later. But it's all the Creator talking to you, or the universe talking to you, that you're a part of.
Absolutely. And I think that is when we start to feel alive,
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was young, I felt something, but over time it was kind of beaten out of me by the school system. And then I started to do a lot of drugs when I was like 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I got really addicted because it was all around me all the time. And got really addicted to, all the worst drugs you can get addicted to. Cocaine, speed, ecstasy, alcohol, of course. I was chain smoking cigarettes. And I was just like, pretty much that's the only thing I had to live for, was like, what kind of drug am I going to get high on today? And what spurred that was a lot of sexual abuse, because that had happened to me since I was very young. And so, like, little girl, and
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty much convinced that I was like tainted and worthless and broken, like a broken form of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did those drugs to kind of try and help me to focus on something else. And then I became a drug dealer in college. And I did that because I had really low self-esteem. So I thought, maybe if I sell drugs, people will think I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that all was going on. And I did always have latent within me this this servant to humanity. I was, even all the time doing those drugs and selling those drugs, I still was organizing things here and there, peace rallies, fundraisers, etc. But I was kind of going at like 10% because I didn't really feel like I was worthy to serve Creator in that capacity. So I just kind of did it a little bit, and then I go back to my shenanigans to kind of just show everyone I wasn't trying to be something I'm not,
Mm.
But then what happened was that's when those horses and those spirals and that healing started popping up for me. And then once I realized there is a creator, and that this creator does still approve of me, and that this creator not only approves of me, but loves me very much, and that this creator wants me on his side, his army, as one of these soldiers of peace and of love and of truth, that changed everything. And I literally quit all the drugs overnight, just stopped. I even quit chain smoking, which I had done since I was 14, and so that when we get that feeling, at least for me, I feel like we come alive and we start to kick into gear. But the main trick to kick into gear for me was I had to see my worth again. Mm-hmm. And this world had done everything it could to make me feel like I was worthless, piece of trash. And for women, rape really does that. And we might not call it rape. We might be like, oh, that happens to every high school girl. That's what I see in the movies or whatever. But my elder said rape is anything you do because you think you have to, or because you do have to, and not because you really, actually, truly, genuinely want to. So they said it's have to versus want to. Mm-hmm. And they said that, that is a real tool against the women of the world, because when they do something that's unsacred, or rather, I should say, when something unsacred happens to them and they take responsibility for it, like, oh, I should have closed the door, I shouldn't have walked in the room with him, I shouldn't have done X, Y, or Z, or then they feel like they've desecrated the most important part of themselves, and therefore their self-worth goes down the drain. And so this is a really major trick against our women of the whole world, is rape. And for men, their trick is the dark, the bad things of this world, or the bad intended things of this world. They hurt the women in their family. That's what hurts them. Mm-hmm. And they think, oh, just like I felt like a broken form of a woman, sometimes men can feel like a broken form of a man if they weren't able to keep their mom from getting hit or from getting sad, or maybe their dad used to talk down to her. And that makes them feel like a broken form of man, and that makes it harder for them to get kicked into gear and to feel alive and feel like a worthy servant of Creator, because they're like, oh, no, I can't serve Creator. I lost that a long time ago. So then they try to compensate by doing things like, oh, I'll get a big truck. I'll get a nice paying job. I'll sleep with lots of women. I'll get really built up and muscly, to try and feel like they're being real men. But the beauty of this whole healing process is they don't have to try and become anything or compensate for anything, because they never actually lost anything. This whole time, they've done their best, and 99 times out of 100, there was nothing they could have done to help their mother get hurt, or their sisters, or their aunties, or whoever the women were that were getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is they need to know, just like the woman needs to know it's not her fault that she's been raped, the man needs to know it's not his fault that that his women got hurt, and that he did everything he could. Sometimes even they're in diapers, they're toddlers, and these little boys place that blame upon themselves for their mothers getting hurt, or their sisters getting hurt, or their Mother Earth getting hurt even, And on a human scale, that's another thing that lowers our self-esteem, because human beings, we were created to help steward the earth. And so how does it feel when the very thing you were created to take care of is getting destroyed all around you, Mm-hmm. It makes you feel like you failed, like you've done a bad job. You're a broken form of a human, but we're not. And it's not our fault that this destruction is happening. It's been in the works for thousands of years that the dark has been working to make this happen. And it's not our fault. And this thing of the actions for Standing Rock, prayers and actions for Standing Rock, we made a map of all the different actions that are popping off in the next 4 days. And it is so beautiful because the whole globe is just covered with support and prayer for Standing Rock against the Dakota Access Pipeline. And to me, that's very healing, because it's showing us that we as humanity, we're doing a good job, to take care of our mother, and we're doing what we can. And so it's uplifting everyone that we're reassuming our role as caretakers of Nehema Nahasta, our Mother Earth. So these are all good things that, yeah.
It's only fitting that this is an Indigenous-led movement to remind all of humanity what our purpose is here. But I want to thank you for your honesty and your candor and your open heart.
Yeah, of course. I don't care about sharing what happened to me because I know it's not my fault.
Yep.
So once you realize that, you're like, oh, well, I'm not such a bad person after all. You have nothing to hide.
Right.
It's not my fault. I was got drugged as a kid or raped as a kid or all these things. It's not my fault. So right. I don't mind talking about it. And it helps other people have courage to talk about it too, because I'm not special. We've all been through some stuff, different kinds of stuff, but it's all stuff in that.
Right.
But yeah, you're welcome.
I too am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it does create a level of pain that you just want to go away. And that's when the drugs come in, or, various other ways to numb out that just constant pain of, that needs healing, that's coming up to need healing, but
right.
It's part of the wound of the wounded healers. Is that you have to know what it feels like to be broken so that you can help the others that are broken. And like you said, the earth that's hurting right now too. And the other part of that is this systematic rape, human trafficking. All this stuff is a systematic part of the destruction of our earth as a whole. It's all connected. And so the resistance to it also is all connected. And I find that the people who are resisting the strongest are the ones who are working through this, and coming to this healing where they realize I'm not as broken, as I thought, and it's not my fault. Like you said.
Yeah. And a lot of the mainstream outlets for women who have been through this, and men who have been through domestic violence as a child, they call them victims, right? But what the ancestors helped me to do is to say, okay, you're not a victim, Lyla June, you are a veteran. And there's a difference, because the veteran went into the battle, and the veteran got some flesh wounds, but the veteran's okay. And that battle is an honorable battle. To come to this world as a woman is a battle, period. And to move through that battle when the radio, everything on the radio is telling you you're just an object, when everything on the TV is insinuating that you're not sacred, when you are getting predated upon by things in your high school, in your college. Show me one woman who got through college without something happening to her that she didn't want to happen to her. And so this is a battle. And they said, you got some flesh wounds, but you're okay. We can heal that. And the most important healing happens when you realize it's not your fault. And that it doesn't make you less of a person to get sideswiped, That has nothing to do with your character. You were just hanging out, So anyways, I agree with you, and that together, men and women and non-gender conforming peoples, we all need to have a big dose of self-love, because it is only through self-love that we can stand up and fight and know that we're worthy of fighting for what is of the most utmost importance in this life, which is each other, our climate, our marginalized communities, our oceans, all of these things. That it's a deeper honor to continue to fight the battle, but in a way where you don't have to get hurt like that anymore.
Yeah, and this connection between this protection of the water and our communities rising up and saying our women are sacred and we're going to protect them. It's all connected because the water is that feminine principle that we all need, the source of all life.
Right.
So again, those who are rising up to protect the waters are rising up to protect women again too. So I just want to point that out, that I'm noticing it's the same spirit, or the same energy, however you want to articulate it. That's working.
Well, just like the water, just like women, water are the base of all life. And just like women, water is under siege.
Right.
And just like women, it's the honor of everyone to protect it, and to witness how it is the root of all of our breath is the women in the water. And so the men are so wonderful, because they are coming together to see this, something they've always known. And the men are healing as well, because patriarchy was not created by men, and it doesn't serve men. It wounds them in the most mortal way a man can be wounded. And patriarchy actually was created by the dark, this spirit that has no gender, but that is totally fine with enslaving things and playing God, what used to be a guardian of the earth, but then it switched, it flipped on us, and now it's working to enslave. And so this dark sort of leader of the dark created patriarchy, not men themselves, because patriarchy wounds all of us, both male and female alike, because it removes from society the most inherent truth that exists in this earth world, which is that the women are the center of everything. It's not to say they're better, it's just saying they're the center. And so the women not being in the center, the women carrying life, when the women get pushed to the side and marginalized, life itself gets pushed to the side and marginalized. For the women are what bring the life. And the women are the first teachers of every child. They will teach them what it means to eat, what it means to drink, what it means to exist in a human form. And furthermore, once they become old enough to walk, usually the women are still the teachers. If you even look in our schools today, most of the teachers are women. And so when we push the woman to the side, we push the life that she carries to the side, and life starts to fray and tatter around the edges. And so you're right. Recentering women is in and of itself a way of recentering the health of the whole ecological system. And women, there's women in every species. There's women raccoons. There's women bears. There's women fish. And then some species, they don't have women. They have asexual reproduction. But there is a women in a lot of different species. And in every species, it's true. That's what defines them as women, is the next generation literally comes from them. And whether or not we have children doesn't make us women. What makes us a woman is that we agreed to come here to Earth and be ready in case Creator sent life. And that willingness to come here and be ready in case life is sent is what makes you the woman. That willingness. Not the dress, not the lipstick, not any of that, but the willingness to hold life. That's what makes us women. And so that's a wonderful thing. And you're right. And I think that that's really coming into focus at Standing Rock. I've heard a lot of people working on bringing the women's voices out of Standing Rock more and more and more. So that's good.
Yes. Yeah. And this kind of ties back to that place of healing where we learn that we are worthy. And after that, we learn that it's okay to take the risk of acknowledging that life is sacred, because we're living under this lie of patriarchy that tricks us into, that wounds all of us and tricks us into thinking that men are the center when they're not. So, you have things like the Adam and Eve myth, where somehow instead of all of us coming from women, which is the reality of what we're living under, we're made to believe that we all come from men. And like you said, which is a very, very good point, when women aren't in the center, life gets pushed to the side. So part of what we're working under when we dare to say life is sacred and I'm going to protect it, that's what the warrior is today, is that we're under this dark force that just steamrolls over life for money. And somehow that's legal, somehow that's okay. And we have to break the law in some instances in order to protect life. So it's a real risk.
Right.
When we take that healing step.
You're right. That's a really good point. And it's true. And ultimately we are accountable not to the laws of man, but to the laws of nature. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that with the famines in Russia, where thousands of people died of global, with the fires that go on in California, the drought, the fires in the Southwest. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that with the flooding in various areas, that ultimately we as warriors of peace, we as warriors of the earth, and we as warriors of compassion, and warriors for life, ultimately we are not accountable to the laws of men. Ultimately we are accountable to the laws of nature, and I think they will catch up. I think the laws of man will catch up if we walk this line in a good way, where we are focused on protecting what is good and focused on praying for what is destroying what is good, and focused on having unconditional love for all these things. Then there's no way to refute us, there's no way to discredit us, and there's no way to deny us. And this is the hot button that Gandhi touched on, mm-hmm. King, but not just these ancestors, but also Tall Bull, Cheyenne ancestor, Sitting Bull, Zarquios Largos, a Navajo ancestor. All of these peace chiefs that refused the warpath when all the younger men were going on it. These were the peace chiefs that said, no, we can't do that. Two wrongs don't make a right. We can't do that. I know you want to. I know you want to just rip their heads off for raping our women and killing our buffalo and what have you. But we cannot do that because that weakens us spiritually. And so as long as we are able to walk that narrow path, where we are fighting for life and yet simultaneously praying and loving that which destroys life, we can walk that narrow path, we will succeed, and the laws of man will be forced to catch up with the laws of nature. And that's why Standing Rock is so powerful. I mean, I don't think anyone can deny it at this point. That is why Standing Rock is so powerful. And it's why nothing has been able to discredit it. And that's also why they've been trying very hard to invent violence in the camps that isn't actually going on, because they know that this will weaken the movement and the credit of the movement. And so, yeah, there's a lot to say about all of this. But I think the most tricky thing is to not blame the men for patriarchy, because we're not going to be whole until all of us are whole. And further blaming the men, they already feel really insufficient as men, is not going to help. And honoring, like you said, that when we put women in the center and that creative force of life, which is indicated every month through our monthly cycle, that creative force that emanates from us, founded on compassion, founded on selflessness. Because let's face it, if you're going to have a human grow inside of you for 9 months and birth it, that is selflessness. How much pain it takes. And yet the woman is happy to do this because she knows that it's an honor. And so this type of warriorhood is what naturally sprouts from our societies when we place her at the center. But right now, what's going on is our men have been wounded too. Our men have watched the women in their family get hurt, and they've watched their own Mother Earth get destroyed in front of their eyes. And they're feeling insufficient. They're feeling like, oh, I should have done this, I could have done that, da, da, da. And so a lot of this breed, who can get the highest paying job, who can have the fanciest car, who can sleep with the most women, a lot of this is just a lot of our men trying to cope with the feeling that they have failed as men, but they have not failed as men. And so holding lots of space and compassion and patience for our men is a vital part of this healing, and helping them to give them opportunities to be honored, opportunities to have an experience where they truly are making a difference for the women and for Mother Earth. These are the things that heal all of them, and I've seen it heal lots of men at Standing Rock. Man, they just feel so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, anyhow, that's a big reason why White Buffalo Calf Woman gave us the pipe. It's a male and a female element. And the pipe stone is the female element. and the stem is the male element. And why do you think, of all the things White Buffalo Calf Woman could have given us, that she gave us this?
Mm-hmm.
Because the relationship between men and women, and the understanding and health of women, and the understanding and health of men, is fundamental to creation, living and being healthy. And so this whole talk about gender is very important. And it's a slippery slope too, because there's a lot of needs right now for people to be seen and have compassion for those who are non-gender conforming.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we also need to honor the nature of the birds, the beavers, the bears, the elk. Not that they have to like one gender or another, but that they, as they were built, are sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sacred aspect that we are meant to experience, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Creator makes mistakes, you know?
Right.
So
and Creator doesn't make mistakes, either men, women, or those who don't conform. Those are all original blessings of our Creator. But like you said,
right.
There politically, things will always confuse us when they're expressed in a political manner, because it doesn't have that force of compassion, like you say, behind it. And compassion is a spiritual practice. So as we orient ourselves toward compassion as a spiritual practice, it's like a muscle that keeps getting stronger. And if we commit ourselves to this narrow path of compassion as a spiritual practice, it does get stronger, both on the individual level and on a deeper level and on a communal level. So I'm overjoyed to see this commitment at Standing Rock to our earth, to the water, to bringing women back to the center, and to practicing compassion and nonviolence. It's beautiful. It's such a huge step forward for all of us.
It is. It really is. And it's a model that is not new, but that has been forgotten a little bit in recent decades. And so renewing it within this context.
Stick around. We're going to be right back for the second hour. Welcome back to the second hour of The Bridge with Kira. Tonight I am talking to Lyla June Johnson. Welcome back, Lyla.
Thank you.
And we're having a great conversation about, really, it's focusing a lot on compassion as a spiritual practice, our role as humans, as stewards of the earth, and the wounding that we're all working on healing right now. And it's really special to talk to you. I'm very thankful for this conversation. I was hoping that maybe we could do a few poems in this second hour. Are you prepared to do that? Is that something you'd like to do?
I always got some poems in my back pocket, you know?
Yeah, me too. All right. Wonderful. So give us a poem.
Okay. And that was a really weird commercial thingy that came on too right before we came back on.
I know. There's all kinds of stuff going on here at Revolution Radio. Everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah. Got their own thing, right?
Yep.
Poems then. hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Give your heart. Let it break like dawn into a blackened night. The day creatures may not awake, but be brave and give it still. Give your heart. Love may not be there to receive it, but be brave and give it still. You can rest peacefully at sunset, knowing that you did not withhold your heart like an unblossomed flower, but that you bloomed, even as a speck of dust, that you bloomed with all your might. Give your heart away. You got to give your heart away, 'cause only then may love find a way. Only then will love find a way. You've got to give your heart away. You've got to give away every day, every day. So I tread with love like my lantern upon the darkened road, not knowing what it holds or where it will go. For faith and blind courage are the soil from which our souls sprout, grow, and advance along some cosmic road Godward. Some days the thought of solitude would gnash me between its teeth, the thought of rejection, and it is so tempting to run and hide so that I might avoid failure altogether. But there is no greater success than to try in the face of uncertainty and to give your heart, knowing it may meet nothing but the howling wind, and that in this trying, in and of itself, there is the victory. Give your heart away. You've got to give your heart away, yeah. 'Cause only then may love find a way. Only then will love find a way. You've got to give your heart away. Got to give it away every day, every day. And in the end, my hand that was outstretched was met by nothing but bladed tongues. But as an evening meal to be devoured, and I will not be frequenting the hog's den ever again. But I still claim this is my victory. For my pearls are still pearls, even in the thick of swine, and I will cast my pearls wherever I am, whenever I am, until the day I die. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. 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 You've got to give your heart away. You have to give your heart away. 'Cause only then may love find a way. Only then will love find a way. You've got to give your heart away. Give it away every day, every day. So that one I just wrote today, so it's a little, it's a little rough. It's a little, still getting there. But I wanted to share it anyway.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Yeah. You did cut out a little bit, so maybe we could get the words on, like when we put this out in the intertubes. We'll put the words there, and maybe you'll have changed them a little bit. And it is kind of what we were just talking about too, isn't it? That that's part of the healing. Once you realize, you just keep giving, and it is a victory to still be able to trust and to give your love away every day. It's absolutely a victory.
Yeah. And what the ancestors told me is, we're not asking you to be perfect. We're just asking you to try.
That's right. That's right. And again, it's like a muscle, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a muscle and a groove in the brain that sometimes needs trailblazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, I'd like to share one with you.
Yeah.
This is something that I wrote in 2003, and it was, my son was born in 2005, so I prayed for him for 14 years until he finally arrived. It's called Potawatomi in the Morning. Rising after flying, sleepy-eyed and sipping coffee, he speaks Potawatomi to me. Every word a stronghold, every word a prayer. An Indian man is more than a man. He carries his dreams of his people, creating culture, practicing religion, living our way of life. Praying together, we understand the blessing of being here now. An Indian woman is more than a woman. She carries the prayers of her people, healing with her song, dancing the dream of the earth. Singing together, we catch a song, learning our story again. An Indian child is more than a child, more than a promise of love, more than a knowing in each cell Mother Earth will always be, and we are part of her. Rising from the drum, he speaks Potawatomi to me, smiling and laughing, becoming part of it again. Dancing next to me, we come full circle. Our ancestors dance with us today. Rising from the ashes, daring to thrive, he speaks Potawatomi to me, and we are whole again.
Very nice. That's beautiful.
And his it got into the Prairie Band Potawatomi newspaper that year. It was May 2003.
That's a nice poem.
When we got married, his mother asked me why we got married on the winter solstice. And I was joking with her, and I said, well, it's the shortest day, but the longest night, eh? And she put that in the paper. She put it in the paper. That's funny. But,
oh, my God.
That's family for you. That's family that does that for you.
Yeah.
And have you noticed as a poet, and I'm sure you started young, probably in your young teens, started writing poems. Have you noticed how in a way they manifest? Like it's this voice that comes through you and you think you understand it. And then years later you go back and you're like, wow, that came from somewhere else. And it was like a manifestation as I brought the words out. And for me, it's important not only to write them, but to speak them. Like they're prayers too. And that's why I like your poems, because they're prayers too. And, special.
Right. I remember thinking that the other day, that looking back on some poem, I don't remember which one, but I was like, whoa, that actually happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't, it's a gift. And I think they do come through you. And it's not just your own voice. It's something bigger than yourself that's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
When you make that connection.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
If you do it right. Yep. So
All your greatest poems will never be your own.
Right. Yeah. It's true. Songs too. I think when we catch a song, you're like, hey, I caught this new song last night, and you sing it out, and it's really probably the ancestors just reminding you of an old song that they wanted to hear. You know, they send it to you in a dream, or, you know, kind of like all songs have been sung before.
Mm-hmm.
You sung
Right.
again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So would you like to do another one?
Sure. And I was just wondering, did you get that SoundCloud to work?
I don't know if I can do that, but I can try.
Yeah, try, because if we could do the last half hour with that, then they'd have some music as well.
Okay.
It's if you go on SoundCloud, there's several mixtapes. Lyla June, SoundCloud.com/Lyla June, and then there's like a mixtape that's, I think it's just called Lyla June mixtape, and it's 32 minutes long. But anyways, yeah, I'll read a poem. This one's called "And God is the Water." Yeah.
Okay.
And if I cut out, just let me know so I can
Okay.
start over.
Okay.
When I close my eyes at night, I can hear the rock being cut open by water. I hear a grandfather's song, and it sounds like sand walking down the river bottom. And in this song, they talk about how even the mighty canyon walls were carved by meandering streams. Beneath the gentle waters, there are people. Not people like you and I, stone people. When I close my eyes at night, I am one of them. And God, she is the water. Over lifetimes, she runs over me until I am polished and smooth. She teaches me about patience and commitment. She teaches me how to be gentle, yet persistent. And in her language of trickles and bubbles, she speaks to me and she says, journeys, take them. But try not to forget who you are along the way. I have nothing for you but these words. So place them in your pocket, and I will see you again when you arrive at the ocean's throne as 1,000,000 kernels of sand.
Beautiful.
Her voice hums in my blood, quiet as a stream in the night. And it is this song about how we are all just so loved. The eagles dip their talons into her soft body and pull from it a fish, a flesh meal for their children. They sing this grandfather song with her, and it sounds like feathers cutting into the sky. And it is this song about how even hatred will surrender to wonder. She is breaking my heart apart like a stubborn granite puzzle of problems. And even the hardest doubts and sorrows give way to her infinite grace. And who knew that sometimes grace can come when you stand in the raging river until everything you think you own is ripped away from you and replaced with a weightlessness so profound that you can't not cry. Tears of absolute praise and run all around the riverbanks, shouting to the cattails and the minnows and the crawdads about the truth of beauty, about the truth of a God that breathes through the trees. Truth of a God that weaves winter from water and night. The truth of a God that weaves bodies from dust and light. And carries us down the river of life. Over and over and over and over again. And over again. Until we finally understand the meaning of forever. Forever. In the language of the stones, there is no word for mistake. There is only the complete understanding of what it means to be a beloved son or daughter. We are the rocks. We are the rocks. And God, she is the water.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Creator.
Yeah. So I'm going to try, in 10 minutes, I'm going to try to play your SoundCloud and see if it'll, and see if it'll go through. I've had some technical non-success with doing that before, but maybe it'll work. Maybe the spirits will help it work. Burn some sage in the wires. Work right for me, please. I do live in a very rural area, and so I don't get good internet. So I have to come into town, and I do this show on the road from my truck, from a little laptop, and so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but we always try. And I really do love your music, and the videos that you've been sharing lately. There's two in particular. One where you're talking about these days of action, days of prayer, and then another one that you've been sharing as well. Is there a place besides SoundCloud where people can find your videos and things?
Yeah, I actually just started a Facebook page. It's called Lyla June. It's LYLAJUNE. You can go there. You can see some videos, and you can see some of my meditations and ramblings. But yeah.
Good. Did you want to get into the Black Hills concert at all? Did you want to say anything about that? That was something
what
else.
What I would like to do is keep reading poetry until
okay.
2:30.
Okay. All right.
If possible.
Did you want?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I do. The Black Hills Unity concert was good. We united the 12 of the Lakota tribes to try and get the Black Hills back. Mm-hmm. And we just finished the third annual. The first annual, I simply performed. The second annual, I pretty much produced with a wonderful team. And the third annual, I had very little to do with at all because I was absorbed with Regeneration Festival, which is a festival for children. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of the gist on that, but I definitely would recommend people coming out to the fourth annual next year.
Okay. And that's when? You don't have a date yet, I'm sure, but around what time?
Usually in the fall, beginning of fall, end of summer.
Excellent. So did you want to do another one? Or?
Yeah, I'd like to keep doing it until 2:30.
Okay.
Indigenous people, shine your light, we are equal. I remember the days when our prayers were illegal. I remember the days when being Indian was lethal. Yeah, we had a rough past, but get ready for the sequel. Get ready for the glorious comeback of our people. Oh, yeah. Rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart. Can you feel it in your blood? I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. All nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's the time. With forgiveness as my bow and my prayers as my arrows, pull them back and let go. I watch them fly like sparrows. Have hope, yes, have hope. With compassion as my shield and faith down to my marrow, I will walk the pollen path even when it gets narrow. Yeah, yeah, resurrect. Yes, you can bet that we seen the single mother raising children on the res. We seen domestic violence tear apart what we have left. We seen the alcohol take it all and leave us dead. We seen the children take their lives when they can't take the dread anymore. No, we can't take the dread anymore. No, we won't take the dread anymore. No, we can't take the dread anymore. Yes, it's a war, but we've seen it all before, and now we know we can change it, 'cause that's why we were born. We know we are the ones that we have been waiting for. We are the ones that Grandma has been praying for, so rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I can feel it in my heart, I can feel it in my blood. I can hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. Pueblo hermoso, levántense, es nuestro tiempo. No tienes que esconderte más. Levántense, es nuestro tiempo. Mujer indígena, tú eres tan sagrada. Traigas medicina de tu suelo todavía, a pesar del abuso de tu cuerpo y tu tierra. Yo respetamos tus ancestros y la suya cultura, hombre indígena. Tú eres honorable y yo veo la fuerza que todavía sobrevive a pesar del abuso de tu raza venerable. Yo respeto tus ritos, tus danzas, tus padres. Somos guerreros del amor y guerreros de la paz. Sí, no vamos a escondernos más. Somos guerreros del amor y guerreros de la paz. Sí, no vamos a escondernos más. All nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's the time. All nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's the time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's the time. You know, they say that history is written by the victors, but how can there be a victor if the war isn't over? Creator is sending his very best warriors, and the battle has only just begun. But this time, bullets and arrows and cannonballs won't save us. This time, the only weapons that are helpful are the weapons of truth, faith, and compassion. And this time, it isn't cowboys versus Indians. This time, it is all of the beautiful races of humanity together on the same side. And this time, we are not fighting each other. No, this time, we are fighting our fear. We are fighting to replace our fear with love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That we are, my dear. That we are. And just wanted to let you know the chat is really, really moved by your words and your songs, and I'm going to try to make this.
Well, I just want to say to whoever's listening, you know, that I really love you a lot, and it's such a strange way to connect. You know, I'm on my phone in Flagstaff at the base, and you guys are all where you're at, but at the same time, you know, we're all in the same place. We're in the heart of our Creator. So doing my best through these interesting channels.
Mm-hmm.
But I love you all.
Thank you for that.
So is the SoundCloud working?
That we're just going to have to try it live and see if people hear it on the other
give
side.
it a shot.
So I will wait for I'm going to start playing it, and then I'll wait for my husband to tell me if it's coming through or not.
Okay.
All right. Okay, no, that's not. It has to do with my Skype settings. So let me see. I'm just afraid I'll lose you if I change my Skype settings to where it can cut through. Okay. Let's see here. Also, playback is the other technical issue at hand. So let's see. Audio. All right. Okay. Odd. Okay.
Well, that sounds like it might not be working.
I don't think it is. It's coming out my other speakers instead of through the Skype, which is what I wanted it to do.
I understand. What I would like to do is I'd like to do 2 more poems and then maybe let you take it from there.
Okay. Is
that possible?
That's absolutely possible.
Okay, great. I have a poem, and I also have a rap, like a hip hop thing. So,
Cool.
Okay. So I'll do the hip hop thing first. I don't know if you could hear beatbox very well through this microphone, but I'll give it a shot. We were all given sacred duties to this land. Take care of Mother Earth and she will help you understand that everything we need is in the palm of her hands. No need to drill, mine, conquer, or extract. With faith in the Creator, we will blaze a brand new path. When we let go of fear, the greed turns into laughter. Unity of all people, that is what we're after. I'm cruising down the red road with sweetgrass on my dashboard. I used to drug and drink, but now I'm sober, now I'm faster. Sharp as the tacky stone, it can't hold me back now. I just want to build a new world for my children with love, prayer, and unity. This nation is rebuilding up from the ash of genocide and division. Red, black, yellow, white as one. That's the vision. Every race participates in this new beginning. Sacred is the masculine and sacred is the feminine. Infinite, indigenous, continuous, deliberate. Nothing can stop the people once they got their intentions set. Some people say that the land can be owned, but deep in our hearts we know it isn't so, because we don't even keep this flesh or this bone. No, we can't take it with us on the soul's journey home. Now the only thing we keep is the lessons that we know. So when we wake from the slumber, to remember we are one beautiful people under one beautiful sun. We must also release all claims to the land, because she don't belong to us. No, we belong to her. The Black Hills were meant to be a place where we could learn. We pray to Pahasapa for a blessing on the world. We practice Satyagraha because violence doesn't work. We pray for those who are injured and those who endure. Unconditional prayer for the whole wide world. Sun dance year round. Yeah, we let the sage burn, because when we pray for the people, we will start to understand what it means to be true woman, what it means to be true man. Cradled in the arms of the sky and the sand, just a strand in the tapestry of the master plan. Because together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. 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 Find love, find healing, find unity. Honjon nahasni, honjon nahasni, honjon nahasni, honjon nahasni.
Beautiful. And the chat goes wild. We love you.
The chat goes wild. It's like, they used to say the crowd goes wild, but now it's like the chat goes wild. Oh my God, you could hear all these like tippity tappings on the keyboard.
Yeah. Yay!
That's funny, you know. It's
Yep.
a creator song, and I'm glad that I could bring it to you. And, you know, if there's any questions people have, you know, they're welcome to chat some questions
Okay.
or something. In the meantime, I'll read a poem called Honjon. Okay. It is dawn. The sun is rising in the sky, and my grandmother and I are singing prayers to the horizon. This morning she is teaching me the meaning of Honjon, although there's no translation from the English language into Navajo. Every living being knows what Honjon means. For Honjon is every drop of rain. It is every leaf on every tree. It is your every eyelash. It is every feather on the bluebird's wing. It is undeniable beauty. And my grandmother, she knows this well, for she speaks a language that grew out of the desert floor, like red sandstone monoliths, like the arms of the earth reaching into the sky and praising creation for all of its brilliance. Honjon is remembering that you are a part of this brilliance. Humanity is a part of the earth's brilliance. And my grandmother knows this well, for she speaks the language of a Lokajagay snowstorm. She speaks the language of hooves hitting the dirt on birthdays, for she was a midwife and she would gallop to the women in labor. She became fluent in the language of suffering mothers. She became fluent in the language of joyful mothers. And she became fluent in the language of handing a glowing newborn to its creator. Honjon is an experience, but it is not something you can experience alone. The eagles tell us as they lock their talons together in the stratosphere and fall to the earth as one. Honjon is inter-joy. And my grandmother knows this well, for she speaks the language of the male rain, which shoots lightning bolts through the sky and pummels the green corn children and huddles the horses against the cliff sides in the early afternoon. She also speaks the language of the female rain, which sends the scent of dust and sage into our hogans, into our homes, and casts rainbows in the sky. Astane, we know what Honjon means. And each and every person out there listening to this, you know what Honjon means. And deep down inside, I think that we know what Honjon does not mean. Like the days we walk in fear, like the days we walk in sadness, like the days we live for money, or like the days when I lived for fame, or like the days when the conquistadors came, climbed down from their horses, and asked us if they could buy the mountains. Now we knew this was not Honjon because we knew you could not own a mountain, but we knew we could make it Honjon once again. So we took their silver swords and we took their silver coins and we melted them with fire and buffalo hide bellows and recast them into beautiful turquoise and silver jewelry pieces and placed it around their necks. We took the silver helmet straight off of their heads and transformed it into a fearless beauty. We made jewelry. Honjon is the healing of broken bones. Honjon is the healing of our broken hearts. Honjon is the prayer that carried us through genocide and disease. Honjon is the prayer that will carry humanity through anything, through global warming, through this global fear that dances like a shadow in our minds. This morning, my grandmother is teaching me something very important. She's teaching me that the easiest and the most elegant way to defeat an army of hatred is to sing to it beautiful songs until it falls to its knees and surrenders. It will do this, she says, because it will have finally found a sweeter fire than revenge, a sweeter fire even than greed. It will have found heaven. It will have found Bonjour. And so my grandmother is talking to the colors of the sky at dawn. And she is saying to them, Bonjour Nahasli, Bonjour Nahasli, Bonjour Nahasli, Bonjour Nahasli, which means beauty and joy are restored again. Wake up, my friends. It is dawn. The night is over.
And the night is over. It truly is with you and your generation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this time with everyone, and my prayers are with you. And thank you, Kira, for setting this all up. And
you are so welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to say before you go?
Mainly, I would just encourage everyone to love themselves and to reconsider what you may think to be true about yourself, and maybe what you think is true at all.
Mm-hmm.
And because if the conclusion is not joyful and beautiful, then I think our observations have led us to false conclusions. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again. And please do come back sometime and think of us whenever you would like to spread the word about any of the projects that you're involved in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will. Okay, you have a wonderful evening, everyone.
You too.
I'll go on it.
Bye. And that was Lyla June, and her beautiful voice and her story, which is very touching, very, very touching to me. So we have a few more minutes. I did bring a few more poems, so I'm going to do them for you. And this one I put on Oompa and Oompa's Res Poetica site. I put a few on there, so check out that group in Facebook. It has a lot of really moving poetry in there from various voices around Indian country. This one is called Reservation Nation. Reservation Nation, we are all one under the sun of deprivation. Deprivation in the name of fantasy. Fantasy to escape the reality of spiritual bankruptcy. Poverty created by denial. Denial created by narcissism. And the sun sets on the American empire. Reservation Nation, where children starve and parents go hungry to feed their children, where the useless and arrogant are hired on the spot, and the hard workers are denied the basic right to earn a living, then told to go get a job that doesn't exist. Reservation Nation, we hide the dead to hide the reality of the sick, and deny our responsibility to care for the infirm. We blame the disabled for their disabilities, kick them while they're down, pretend it could never be us sitting in their wheelchair. Reservation Nation, We ignore our elders to deny their wisdom and our responsibility to listen and care about the many years they have learned how cycles continue until we say no. And the sun sets on the American empire. Indigenous wisdom comes to the center as one nation under greed devours itself in the name of fiscal health for future children who inherit a poisoned planet run by corporations and elected warlords. Women's wisdom comes to the center as the reservations expand to engulf the very nation that deemed it necessary to slate for termination the people whose lifeways hold the key to balance and survival for us all. And the sun has set on the American empire. I wrote that in 2011. I really like that one. And I guess I don't take full responsibility because, like I was saying before, this voice just comes through you. It's something that just needs to come out. Just the way it is. So a little more uplifting will be, this one is, I was going to call it On the Farm, but I ended up calling it Won the Farm. On the farm I look above me to the canopy of stars, their light swirling through space and time to meet me. Directly above me I see a small and bright star, far away, flickering blue and white, blue and white. Tunkashala, you came to visit me in my first inipi, flickering blue and white, protecting and providing my spirit with power, reminding me of all our many relations. My body nourished, our mother, the canopy of stars, their light swirling through space and time to meet me. I sing in thanks, I sing for us all, my each and every relation. So that one I wrote in 2009 while I was looking up at the stars on my mother's farm. And I hear them. I hear them in my head, and I have to write them down. Earlier we were talking about that defiant spirit of survival, and sometimes it takes a little bit of bitterness to get through the hardest of times. And this one's called Bitter. Here in the place where your spirit gets eaten, I refuse to taste sweet. I will be bitter to the taste. I will not be beat. I will stand with my sisters, our mouths chewed off. That is what gets eaten first. No voice, no life. Silently we say no, generation after generation, giving life, giving our blood to the earth. Here in the place where your spirit gets eaten, I refuse to taste sweet. I will be bitter to the taste. I will not be beat. I will stand with my brothers, swallowing our pride, laughing at the indignity of warriors unarmed. And when they take our sacred objects, put them in a museum, we will make more for ceremonies unforgotten. Here in the place where your spirit gets eaten, I refuse to taste sweet. I will be bitter to the taste. I will not be beat. I will stand with our children who only ask to learn, our children who know who they are, and remind us with their tears when they see we have forgotten. That one also is from 2011. And it kind of reminds me of work. I think I wrote that about work, actually. And it's a hard place to be. Yeah, sometimes. And I've got another one here called my sisters. Today I join my sisters on the bridge to freedom we have built. Crossing over this ocean, the walk will be long. What awaits us here is worth the pains of labor, worth the blood spilled at birth, worth every daughter's escape from torture, from rape, from murder. Today I join my sisters on the bridge to self-determination we have built. Crossing over this busy road, itself an easy task. What awaits us there is self-doubt and all the many vestiges of survival from abuse. Sisters shaming sisters in an attempt to understand all that has been endured. Today I join my sisters on the bridge towards thriving we have built, crossing over the bones of our former selves. It is a task ahead of us now. May what awaits us there be worth the unending pain of knowing that the efforts of generations of women of power have worked for can be swept away by the stroke of our government's pens, whom we have duly elected to protect us from themselves. Also from 2011, a powerful year. I am still writing poetry. But these were the ones that I picked out for Lyla. I'm going to go back a little bit further to 1994. This one's called God and Goddess. When the goddess was killed, many faces were shed, and then we had to kill God too, even after his resurrection. And now as she rises to her resurrection, he weeps for the greater union, and the integration allowed the God in every man. This integration he shed tears for, so long ago, hanging. He gave his blood to wash away our sins. Women give blood with the moon. Our blood flows for life to carry on. We have not been promised her return. We know she is here, sacrificing her blood through us. His followers will see her mysteries and learn their capacities to be, to feel, to love. We have yearned long and hard for her rebirth. Now we must answer our prayers and realize the integration allowed the goddess in every woman. Good stuff. Hope you're enjoying this. Thank you. Mijiki's been sending me little messages from the chat, so thank you very much. I got two more here. One's called Ballad of the White Eye. It's hard to let the pain of others in when you refuse to face your own. The other has no right to her search when your journey and your own trajectory has been erased by the passing of time and mixing of blood. What you would have, could have, should have been, gone. Feelings are like bombs. They seek only to destroy, snuck into your home, like the gun in the pocket of a party guest. It's only there for protection. From what? From whom? From all the enemies you can imagine. In your dreams that seek to awaken you. You were taught you are the center, yet you find yourself on the margins, like all the others, with feelings that you cannot let in. That's from 2013. So I have one more, and this is also from 1994, about my friend Jade Mays. It's called Woman of Power. She's a black Irish beauty, belting out the blues. No cause for alarm. My sister ain't gonna harm you. She's just letting you know about her dream. She's gonna sing her way in. Aphrodite child, war hasn't made you weary. I've got this theory about how your dark vision shines real bright. Who's winning the fight now? Show me how to see in the dark. Yeah, she's got that spark, like a queen taking you under, like thunder laughing. Oh, I feel like I could cry too. No way to lose, singing the blues. I've got the time to feel divine blues. I've got the time to be a witness, see her choose to be real. I can feel, Jade, I can feel. Golden girl, my lesson's long, and your song, sung from the core, has taught me more with each day I learn. Sweet Persephone, your grief felt then past has cast a little light on the road I build for me. It's a road of gravel, dusty rock, a hard road to travel alone. But I walk reassured, my mind has been cured of self-doubt. Your presence has reminded me of my own survival. My rival, up till now, has been me. Your armor is jeweled, soft and warm. I see a storm sweeping it away with simplicity anew. And soon you'll be a star, playing the part. Blessed thou art. And we're almost at the end here. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Keep listening. We'll keep bringing you voices that you might not normally hear on the radio. We'll keep bringing you stories of people who are thriving and healing and forces for good, practicing compassion and resisting the destruction of our sacred Mother Earth, resisting the destruction of life that is sacred. The destruction of life for profit is the ultimate sin. Thank you. What a fantastic little talk there with Lyla June. So for the replay on People's Internet Radio, I always do a little wrap up and then I include it in the YouTube video. And it's funny that I told her the story about the hummingbirds because they're gone now. And I still have this hyper awareness of them now that I'm living in an area where they only come for 6 months out of the year. So I know when they're gone, when they're gonna leave, when they're preparing to leave. I know even when they're 3 or 6,000 miles away that they're preparing to come. I can feel them coming. It's hard to explain. But what's also interesting is during one of these wrap-ups that I did 2 weeks ago, the one right after Oompa Noompa, where he did the first hour and Dandelion did the second hour, I captured on audio my last encounter with a hummingbird for the season. So if you listen to that, or if you go back and listen to it, that was my last interaction with the hummingbird this year. Until I see my friends again. And I can be confident that the ones that camped out here for the summer got everything that they needed, because our focus this year was pollinator health, and we planted a lot of pollinator gardens for the hummingbirds, and the signs of the pollinator health were everywhere, not only with the hummingbirds but the butterflies and the bumblebees and now the songbirds are everywhere. So happy Indigenous Peoples Day. We're going to move forward and leave behind Columbus Day today. We don't celebrate genocide. We don't celebrate psychopaths enslaving, murdering, raping psychopaths. We don't do that. We celebrate the sacredness of life. And that celebration leads us to resist the current paradigm that we're forced to live under, which is the psychopaths in charge steamrolling over life for profit. So my dedication to the No Dakota Access Pipeline resistance in this show is part of my commitment to the sacredness of life. And I'm very encouraged to be able to have a conversation with a young person like Lyla June, who is very aware not only of the sacredness of life, but of her power and of our power together. So I went down to the creek today and said some prayers. Said some prayers for our water protectors, who I love and respect greatly, and will do anything I can to support them and see that that their mission is accomplished. So I thank everybody who's been listening, and everybody, we've gotten hundreds of friend requests to the drum page. So I thank all of you out there who are connecting to the show through our drum page, Yellow Thunder Singers. It's really encouraging. Right now, since Mijikia has taken on the role of producer, and he's doing the promos, my show is finally becoming what I have envisioned it to be all along, and what I've wanted it to be all along. So funny how that happens. And funny how the lessons that I've learned along the way, from where I began with the show and where I am now, really are important lessons that I needed to learn. And so I have no regrets. Hopefully there's not too much wind, but it is fall, and fall tends to be windy. Thanks again for listening, everybody. I appreciate your willingness to tune in. Yak, okay.